Hey everybody, welcome back. We're just going to jump right into it. Today I'm going to be showing you how to find a duplicate number in an array or a set of duplicate numbers. So yeah, let's just get started. Alright, so this is actually going to be done in a separate method here. As you can see, I've made a main method, but we're actually not going to be using it right now. We're only going to be using it for our actual array that we're going to use to test. So start by going down here and write yourself a method real quick. I'm going to do public static, and you're not going to do void, you're actually going to do int array. So just write int with the two square brackets. This basically means you're going to be returning this value. I could even put a string in here, and that means I'll have to return a string value. That's how it works. So int array, so an array of integers, and remove, let's say, duplicates. And for the parameters, all I'm going to need obviously is my array list, or my actual array rather. We're not working with array lists right now, so int array, let's call it numbers with, actually let's keep the name short, let's just do numbers. Alright, so there you go, we've made our main method, and right away I'll tell you that you have to return a type int array right here. And obviously we'll get to that in a little bit. So first of all, this is not really part of the actual code, but if you get a sort of question like this on an interview, or you're asked to do this at work or at school or whatever, usually they should give you a sorted list. By sorted I mean it's obviously just regular sorted from least to greatest. That's the common definition, but just in case you want to sort this, this is so the array, the duplicate numbers in the array are all together, so you can easily find them. So for this, you're actually going to do arrays dot sort. So this is a method for the object arrays, and you're just going to put the name of your array in here. And you'll probably notice you're getting an error right now. That's because we haven't imported the actual array utility. This method is for the utility. And so now that our array is sorted, the one that the main method will give us, or in this case the user, whoever you're giving this code to. So first of all, we're going to make a int array, so an array of integers for the returning process. So basically what we're actually going to return. So we are going to call this, let's make it simple, this will be our results, okay, equals, and then this is a common procedure for making an array. So int square brackets, name of the int array, and then new int, repeat int again. And you could put in a lot of things in here, but in this case we are going to put the number of integers in the array we are given here, because our results should be no more than the numbers, because we're removing the duplicates. That means when we return the array, it will have less numbers. So simply, just to get the lengths of the array, dot the name of the array dot length. Spell that right. Oops. Okay. Control S. So now you can give it a moment to think about, but how you're going to do this is you're going to check basically two numbers at a time to see if they're the same, and you'll do the same thing for each pair of numbers in the array. It doesn't matter if there's an odd number of numbers in there or integers, but you're still going to check two at a time, see if those two match. And since your array is sorted, and if there are duplicates in the int array, then you will find them. So basically, all you have to do right now is make a previous. So this is for previous number. Make an integer for the previous number, and basically you'll have to change this each time you check, because the previous number will change as you go through the array. So for now, you're actually just going to leave this as numbers and the first value in the numbers array, because that is the first number. That is the first number you're going to be checking with the second number, obviously. And zero index, since it's zero-based index, the number 0 is the first thing that comes. And remember, since we're actually returning an array of integers, but without duplicates, since we're removing the duplicates from the array, we're actually going to be adding numbers from this array into our return array. So that's results, and we are going to, the first number we're actually going to add, so we're going to assign the first index of result to our first integer. So it doesn't matter if the first if the first number is 1 in numbers, then it doesn't matter, because if there's a duplicate of it, we'll just remove the duplicate and leave 1 in there. But no matter what, the first number will stay in there, if it's a duplicate or even if it's not. So that's why we put the first number in our return array. So now we're going to get to the little more complicated part. We're going to use a for loop to actually run through the whole array of integers. So for int I, we're going to call that I equals, and we're actually going to make this 1. So it's the second number of the integer array, since we've already put in the first number. And no matter what, even if it's a duplicate or even if it's not, it's going to be in our results. So we're going to start by checking the first and the second number. So int I equals 1. I is less than numbers dot length. So we're going to go through basically the whole entirety of the array by using dot length to figure that out. And obviously I plus plus, since we're going to be adding I each time we go through this for loop. Alright, so now we are going to, so basically to do this, we have to basically capture the number that we're going to be comparing with our previous number, the number before that. So we're actually just going to make an int and call it, let's make it simple, call it int n and numbers dot I. No, actually numbers, and then the bracket, since this is an array, numbers square bracket I. Numbers. And so basically, since I is a changing number, each time we go through the for loop, I is added by 1. And since we're changing, the number is changing in the position of numbers, the index is changing. Each value, int n is a different value each time we go through the for loop, since obviously this line is inside the for loop. So int n is never just one value for now, but it changes each time we go through. So And after that, this is a simple part. Obviously, we're going to check to see if the numbers are duplicates. So we're going to do if previous. So remember, previous is, right now, the first iteration of this for loop, previous is the first number in numbers. So if previous, and I will explain this with an actual example after we're done coding this, just in case if you still think it's a little confusing. I will show this step by step right when we're done with this. So if previous is not equal to n, so if the previous number is not a duplicate with the number right after it, then we're gonna edit our result here. Then result I, since we are going through each number and I changes each iteration, result I is equal to the number that's not a duplicate. And you're probably wondering about the first number, but remember, we already put the first number into result. So for example, if the array was 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, then 1 is already in result, because it doesn't matter if it's a duplicate or not. Then the previous number, so which is 1 right for now, the first iteration, checks if n, which right now is 1, which makes it 2 in the array. So the array is 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. That's just an example. So it checks if it's the same, which is not. So then the number is added to result. So n, which is 2 in this case, is added to result. So now result, it has two numbers in it, 1 and then 2. Because we're putting in the array, in the result array, we're putting in the numbers that may or may not have been duplicated, but we're making the array, we're getting rid of all the duplicates since we're removing duplicates. So since the first and the second numbers aren't duplicates, we're putting them in the result. But if they are, then simply each time, this still happens if they aren't, but if they are, then we're making the previous number n, right? If they are duplicates, then we're not going through this if statement. It's going to skip this, and also obviously it's going to make previous to that number so we can move on. We can't just keep making previous the first number in the numbers array. We have to make it different. So now that previous is another number, we're going to check if it's a duplicate, right? So suppose we're at 3. Suppose previous is 3 right now, and numbers.I, we're at the what is it, 4th position. So it's 3 and 3, 2 3s in a row. So it'll check if previous is not n, but it is n. So it'll skip this, and it won't. See where I'm going with this? It won't add n to a result because it's a duplicate. But it'll keep making previous. It'll make previous n still. It'll still assign n to previous, and later it'll be added because you'll move on, and previous will be the second 3. Remember the example? Previous will be the second 3, but there's no 3 after it. So previous would not be equal to 4. If in my example, if 4 is the next number, 4 is n is 4, and then previous, and then it will be added to that. So result.I will equal n. Previous would be added because n is going through each number. Remember that n is going through each number, and it will be added to result.i no matter what, except for when a number is equal to the number right after it. So if there's two duplicates in a row, obviously it will, if they're equal, it will not put the number into result, and it will just keep moving on. But once the number is skipped, then the number right after it, the one that was a duplicate, will be added, because the number after that one will not be a duplicate. I hope you followed with that. I'll explain it more in a little bit too. So to finish off, at the end, we're simply going to do result. Let's go back here. Return result. And result is the name of the array. Actually, let's just fix this real quick. I actually called it results. Just a little s is going to give me an error. Control S, save it, and here is the code. Remove duplicates. This is the content of the code. Now I'm going to explain it even more with an example, just to get it solidified. So we are going to make a new array list. Notice this is in the main method. I can actually exit that out, but I want to keep it there. So this is in the main method. Int, okay, array equals new, and actually we can skip that process, and I've copy and pasted this set of numbers. So now basically this is a shortcut. I've assigned all these numbers, I've put all these numbers into the array, just to make it a little faster for you guys. So as you can see, 1 1 2 2 3 4 5. I'm actually going to make that a little simpler. 2 3 3. Okay. Remove this. So this is the same example I was talking about before. And what we're going to do is system.out.print line, and we are printing our result from the remove duplicates method that we just created together. So remove duplicates, and we're going to put our array in there, since the parameter has an array in it, so it needs an array to actually work. And there it is. So now we are going to run it. Let's move this up. And actually, I just remembered, before we run this, we are going to use another arrays.toString. We're going to use their toString method, just so it looks all nice and tidy here. Arrays.toString, remove duplicates array. It's kind of a little loop here, but so yeah. So we're going to print. We're going to get results from our remove duplicates, and then arrays.toString will format it nice and even. So I'm going to bring up my console and run this. Okay, and as you can see, the duplicate is removed. You probably see that it's a 0 now. That is because when we initially made int results equals new in numbers.length, this was the cap. Numbers.length was the cap of our results array. So it made however many numbers into zeros into our results. I'll just explain that a little more. So since there is 1 2 3 4 5 6 numbers in our array that we gave, that means results had 6 zeros in it. And basically all that does is just to shows a visual of what has been removed. You can easily if you don't like the 0, you can change that by, in the parameters, you can add a number cap itself to display how many numbers are actually in the array list, which will make it so much more simpler. But this actually works completely fine. There's no error in this. It's just a little more visual. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's no more duplicates. As you can see, the method actually removes the extra 3 here. By remove, all it does is it's reading the numbers array. It reads it, but then it sees a duplicate, so it doesn't add it to results. It skips this if statement and just keeps moving on to this line. So it skips adding results, making results to I, which can be any number in results or any index, and it skips it and it doesn't make it equal to n, which is the actual duplicate number that you see. So that's why 0 just stays the same as it was when we made it here on line 14. Anyway, that is a wrap on removing duplicates from an array. Like I said before, this is basically a project or a simple question that an interviewer might ask you during your coding interview, or maybe this could be a project in your classroom. Basically, it's just to show how to use arrays. It's a little exercise to prove that you actually know how they work and how the indexes and all function. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and actually comment below any suggestions or questions you may have about this, and obviously any suggestions for maybe later videos. Thank you guys so much.